Aaron Nelson, that one went off her hands and behind her, and it's a 17-9 lead for the Lady Trojans.
Ooh, weird toss. That might have been on the line.
Sometimes when the ball is rolling your way, it's really rolling your way, because that one looked as if it came off the side of her hand just a little bit.
Yeah, definitely so. It's really starts with your toss. That toss will tell you right before you even make contact with what you're going to do. It's a good serve, good toss there. Run it down.
19-9, it's a 10-point lead for the Lady Trojans. And a timeout on the court. We'll take a timeout up here. You're watching Rio Sports Live.
Today's game is brought to you by New York Life. Best of luck to your team.
And I'm Danielle Goslin, and I'm a partner with New York Life Insurance Company. For over 170 years, New York Life has built a reputation of developing the most successful professionals in the industry.
We help to manage the process from day one and guide you on your way to success. If you're looking to challenge yourself and build an insurance and financial service business,
then we would like to show you how we can help.
When in Port Mansfield, be sure to stop in Laguna Madre Baits, the home of Laguna Girl 1 and 2. They ensure that you have the best when it comes to your fishing needs. Locally caught bait, including live shrimp and croaker. Frozen baits, caught locally, frozen shrimp, squid, mullet, and more. Dress the part with full outdoor apparel. Drinks, ice, snacks, groceries, and fishing supplies for any need. Access by road or by boat. Look for the blue building and the blue shrimp boats. Laguna Madre Bay.
Welcome back to Rio Sports Live. 10-point lead, and count it. Carly Knapp with a nice touch. 20-9 lead for the Lady Trojans. I'm sure it's nice for you to be back in the volleyball aspect some point as a fan, well, now not as a coach. You're here as a member of the media technically, so you can kind of check that off your list on watching volleyball. It's got to be a first.
Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is. I've got my own media pass and everything.
Right.
So it's official.
You're right. You've done it from the media perspective. You've done it as a scout. You've done it as a coach. You've done it as a player. You've definitely done it as a fan. (20-11) is the score, and that one's going to go to Woodsboro.
Oh, I think he was in a bad position there. She made a good effort trying to fish it out of the net. He's calling it a carry that I might have rolled up on her forearm.
Fish it out of the net. That's a volleyball term, something like finding the river when it comes to softball?
I guess so. It's trying to, like, grab a ground ball is pretty much what it is. Trying to get low and then underneath it, be in a good position. And because the net has a little bit of a lag to it, it tends to kind of sit there for maybe a good half a second. So you really have to be in a certain position to kind of get underneath it and scoop it out back towards your teammates so they can continue and try to get a third touch on it.
20-13 now the score. Now if you're Beeville Jones, you don't want to let Woodsboro hang around too much, because you saw in the second set they went on a little bit of a run that they eventually took the lead.
It's just 1 point at a time. Something I mentioned to my kids every game. 1 point at a time. Don't get caught up in points too much, or if someone hits a really hard, solid shot, it's still worth a point. They don't get extra points for hitting it hard or for making it be a gotcha move. It's still 1 point. 1 point at a time.
Alexis
That's a good angle there.
With a strong move for Woodsboro.
Good shot. Oh, a little bit wide.
Maddie Neiman.
That was wide. That was a line judge. Line judge called it in. R1 did not see the call. Was waiting for the line judge to make the call. From where I'm at, that ball was out. they might contest that.
See it on the replay if we were able to pick it up.
That ball is out. I know this young lady here on this corner, the line judge in the orange shirt, she saw it out, but she's not in the right position to make that call. The line judge on the other side of the court is really the only one to make that call because she is looking straight down that line. You know what? Looking at your laptop here, that ball might have landed where the scoreboard currently is.
I've always wondered, what's that conversation like between Carly Knapp and the official up there?
It's usually like, well, if we saw it in or we saw it out. And the ref will probably say something like, oh, that's not what I saw, or this is the line judge saw. So it's really, I don't want to say who's more aggressive, but it's also an official over an athlete. It's also an adult over a student athlete, so it's, for a young lady. So, you want to be able to have that official be in that position to say, this is what I saw and this is what's going to be, and not have that argument, not really giving the student athlete the chance to explain or to argue, because then I've seen plenty of games, especially in club, where it doesn't matter what call was made, it affects one team. For one team, it's something that they don't like. It's against them, so they want to argue. Hands go up, the parents yell, hey, what's going on? What's going on? So that one call, if it's a right call or a wrong call or whatever judgment call, someone's going to be on the losing end of that call. So it's best just to leave it up to the officials, and that's why you have line judges. And right now, I think that both of these line judges are junior varsity athletes. Usually, within our district plan, when I was at Lyford, we would have that be an adult, usually an assistant coach. So it's
right here.
Exactly,
okay.
For our line judges. So instead of having another young lady, another student athlete be in charge of making that decision, you have an adult, where an adult can say, I was paying attention, I know what I saw, this is what it is. Because sometimes, especially when you have tournaments, scrimmages, sometimes a lot of those kids are not paying attention.
Right.
And I've been in the same position where I really hate yelling at those kids. Like, she's not paying attention. She's on her phone. She's doing whatever it is. So usually it makes it tougher to trust as an R1, as a top official. It makes it a little bit more difficult to trust the judgment of a high school kid who may or may not be paying attention, is really what it comes down to. But, so been there, done that. As a line judge, been there as an athlete, been there as a coach, been there as an official. It's just, you got to call it, stick to your guns, make sure it's what you want to say, and then say it. Because you cannot go back and say, well, maybe she's right, and then change your mind. Because now the team you're changing your mind against is not going to like that you changed your mind because of what another student athlete said.
Right.
So it's that might have been antenna there. And that's also her responsibility as well, line judge, because the official is not in a good position to see whether that ball was on one side of the antenna or not. So that should be a line judge here as well. That should be her call. So again, she's right down that line to be able to see.
21-18, Lady Trojans with the lead, looking to put this one away.
Oh, man, that's a nice swing. It's a little bit long.
That was Ali Estrada.
She's got a nice swing, man. Her vertical is there. Her high elbow is there. The snap is there. That was a little bit long. Or I like to joke that the court is just shorter on that side.
Estrada gets that one over to the far side.
Push. Again. Oh, no!
Newsom able to save that
Carry.
one.
Oh, my goodness. Getting a little bit frazzled on both sides here.
Depending on how these kids did their off-season, endurance, is that a little bit of a factor maybe, at least early on in the season?
Definitely so. I mean, we've had playoff games against Santa Gertrudis where we just go hard, and then we have no gas left in the tank for set 2. Because you're going, sometimes extra points when there's no cap, or, you're going those +2, and the sets just take a little bit longer, and sometimes, you're winded. And
right.
You only got a couple minutes between sets to catch your breath before you go at it again. So a lot of teams try to practice, short bursts because you're only covering a few directional movements, ladder drills, cone drills, because you're only really covering a certain area, because if you go past that area, that little 2x2, that square position that you're in, if you go past that, you're in somebody else's area. So it's just like, shell drill in basketball. You should not be running into somebody else's spot. So, I mean, a lot of it's short burst stuff, changing directions and reaction drills, making drops and, run throughs, things like that. But, I mean, it's a long game. I've had games against Monte Alto, Santa Rosa that have gone 2 hours long. Full 5 sets. And,
Wow.
and they're long sets where it's 25-23. And when we get down to it, it's 15-13. Or, so we've been in those positions where, yes, it's short bursts, but it's over a long period of time.
And that's because you're when you mentioned, with those teams, those are your district opponents.
Oh,
You're in the thick of district play. You had an off season to work with these kids, and again, some of these kids, depending on how these programs ran these last couple of months, the workouts were limited.
Yeah, and even if these athletes are able to do off-season sports, off-season volleyball, not being in softball, not being in track, where they're strictly doing off-season volleyball, they have those extra touches that they're making, but, spring pretty much was canceled.
Right.
So they really didn't do much, and unless they did something at home, unless they were just that set into it and they did something year-long, even when there was really nothing officially going on, then that's definitely going to make a difference here.
For the game point right here, final nail in the coffin.
Good serve. Uh-oh.
Woodsboro hanging on.
That might have been a carry on the Eagles side, but as an official, you really don't want to make it on a call that way where it's very opinionated call where it's really nothing official as far as a ball being in or out. You really don't want to make that judgment call in this position.
Right.
Somebody, oh no, they're continuing to have those issues.
And that's all she wrote. Final score from Woodsboro High School. There it is, the social distancing 2020 special, the handshake, or not handshakes, but high fives and
the airwaves.
The
That
airwaves.
kind of makes me sad that they're waving and they don't get a chance to say good game, and sometimes get those extra hand squeezes to those kids that played really hard, and to really kind of talk to those coaches, like, hey, good game, coach. Good luck in the season. So that kind of does make me sad a little bit that they don't get a chance to do that, especially if these kids are seniors.
So that's a final score here, 25-20. I have it here on my score sheet. So the Lady Trojans 25-21. 25-21, the Lady Trojans sweep, and they managed to get the win. Coach Lisa Lancaster, thanks for joining us. Overall, what were your thoughts on your first broadcast?
It was different. I was definitely nervous in the beginning because, I tend to be loud and talk too much at times. I was worried about saying the wrong things or talking over you, or, there's a lot of things that are different, especially when, you're being recorded and it's live and all that. So that was definitely a good experience. I'm glad you invited me over, and we got to share my first volleyball game back, and hopefully there's more to come. And if not, then I'll definitely make time out to visit more games, especially if it's Lyford or somebody else that's nearby here in Edinburgh.
Definitely. So again, final score, the Lady Trojans come in and sweep the home team, the Woodsboro Lady Eagles. Kevin Arrow, Lisa Lancaster, for everyone at Real Sports Live saying so long.